Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Gray Say There's a Better Way. My name is Zion, and I am the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible and the Book of Zion. And I am the sole occupant of the Pot Smoker's Bible channel at this point. And today's episode is carrying on with the lifting of the veil. Last time on The Gray Say There's a Better Way, I taught you about how the gray look at death and how they approach it, and their beliefs in their use of reincarnation as a means to attain eternal life. Their bodies are not eternal, but their minds and their souls are. So periodically, they change bodies as their bodies wear out. But they retain their memories from one lifetime to another, which is why their names are so long, because they have every name they've ever been known as part of their name. And this is because they retain the memories and the talents from those lifetimes, all of the knowledge that they've acquired. Now, we here on Earth have myths called religion, which carry the basic knowledge of the gray, but we treat them as esoteric stories, and we don't live them the way the gray do. And reincarnation is a really good example of this. The Hindus and Buddhists teach reincarnation, but the practice of it doesn't work because of the disconnect. We don't have the capacity to remember lifetime from lifetime unless you activate your gray genomes. Once you activate your gray genomes through the use of marijuana, you reactivate your gray anatomy. And part of that gray anatomy has the structure in it to advance our memories enough to attain past lifetime experiences, which we call talents, and carry them forward into the future as skills. Now, marijuana is that bridge between our Neanderthal DNA and our gray DNA. And our Neanderthal DNA is not advanced enough, even at this point, to allow the retention of memories. That comes from our gray anatomy. But once we fully activate our gray anatomy, we activate that memory mechanism that recalls past life experiences. Now, because I have been advanced through pushing stresses in my life, and in response to my commitment to God. So I was pushed by life, not by God per se, but God set me a path, or I set myself a path that I followed religiously. And that was not, I didn't understand what I was doing when I was doing it. You never understand ascension until you get there. And then you look back and you go, wow, I did. That's kind of where I'm at right now, which is the big smiley face thing. It's like, you know that the laughing prophet, that lady who sits there and just laughs and giggles and people just love her to death. I know exactly how she feels because it is so, and she's such a beautiful, I think she's a butterfly. And she's such a beautiful soul. And I can't wait to meet her because we have a lot in common. So anyway, um, we who are evolved into gray humans, having attained that genetic link with the gray through the use of marijuana and the enhancement of drugs, we open up those pathways of reincarnation. I myself have under begun begun to understand reincarnation on a deeper level because I am okay. My profession, where I make my money, I'm a cook. I'm well, right now I'm at Pizza Hut, but I was a line cook, and I've been an institutional cook. So I've done all different kinds of restaurant work. That's what I do in the professional world, the physical world, and I'm really good at it because in the 17th century or 16th century, 17th century, something around there, I was the bastard daughter of the top chef in France. I can't remember names, but um, he taught me everything he knew. And during most of my childhood and up into my 20s, I was treated like crap because I was the bastard of the chef. And it was a scandalous thing because he refused to give me up. And because they wanted to do that because I was a bastard. And he was too well known to, but anyway, it was hush hush in the kitchen. So the kitchen staff treated me like crap because they were jealous. I was the daughter of the chef, but I didn't know that until I was in my 20s when he took me aside and explained it to me. And then he took me under his wing, so to speak, and taught me everything that he knew. So that later on in my life, when he passed away, his predecessor took over with the knowledge in the kitchen that I was the chef. So, because I was a female, I wasn't allowed to be the chef. So, this other guy got all the credit, but I was the actual chef. And so, my knowledge of cooking comes from that particular lifetime. I've been told all my life that I dance beautifully. I mean, come on. I've had black people, people of color, tell me that I dance really well. And that to me is the greatest compliment you can get when it comes to dancing. Because I'm in awe of the voodoo practitioners who dance and the Africans who dance in their rituals because that's fucking dancing. So I took that to be the highest honor. And I want you to understand that. But I get my dancing from my probably most famous lifetime, which was as a dancer in the Russian ballet. Now, and this was back in the 16th or 17th century. Well, it was not the 17th century. It was 1 century opposed to my cooking experience, and I think it was later on. So it was like if it was a 16th century cook, then it was 17th century ballet. But in that lifetime, I was the premier ballerina of the Russian ballet, and I toured the entire world as a ballerina, as this world-renowned ballerina. Now, I wanted to take ballet as a child, but my mother refused. She said we couldn't afford it because we could never afford anything that I wanted. Never in my life could my mother afford anything I desired. Didn't matter what it was. It could have been a 5-cent candy and she couldn't afford it, or $25, or $100. I never asked her for anything more than that because how many times can you be told no and not stop asking? But anyway, that's this lifetime. But, it's like in prior lifetimes, I gained these skills that I now tap into. And my singing is the same way. I was, prior to the flood, I was a rune singer. I sang runes magically. I was a very powerful magic rune singer, which is like a witch back in that day. And I relived that lifetime in like 10 seconds. That was actually the first lifetime that I lived, that I relived. um, because my roommate brought runes to my house, and he was reading the book, and I picked up the runes and started messing with them. And because of my powerful knowledge of runes from that lifetime, when I started messing with those runes, I put them in order. I had like maybe two of them superimposed. The rest of the spread was completely by the book. And when my roommate happened to glance down and see what I had done, he he flipped to the cover, to the inside of the cover where the spread was for the alphabet, and he gasped in shock. And I looked up at him and I said, "What?" And he handed me the book. And I looked at that, and I looked down at what I had done, and I had duplicated it almost perfectly without ever having seen a rune in my life. And bam, I was there. I lived that life. And I actually did all the research to write a novel based on that lifetime. I never got to finish the novel because other things took precedence in my life. But I know that story because I lived it, and I will tell it eventually because all of the stories of our lives will be told. And those of us who advance farther into our ascension process will uncover more and more lifetimes through the process of memory. Now, our short term memory is just like instantaneous memory, it's here, there, gone. Our lifetime memories are set in our matrix, our spiritual matrix of the lifetime that we're living. It's actually enmeshed into our physical forms, this spiritual template that we are. And everything that happens to us in our life affects that matrix. But that matrix builds for us the memories that we will carry into our next lifetime. The matrix goes with us from one incarnation to another, encompassing all of our knowledge from this lifetime, but connected to our longer memory from past lifetimes. Now, when we access these past life memories, now the Grey do it as a form of schooling. Or they really, okay, they do it as they grow up. It's like we learn to walk and talk. They learn to walk, talk, and remember. They remember, it's like they're born, they take their first breath, they go, "Oh, I wonder what mom's going to call me this time." Because they remember who they are. And their mom gives them the name, and then they have this new name to add to their former names. And it goes back to the very first incarnation that they have in their memory. Because the ascension process is you go through all these lifetimes, then you reach ascension, then you start remembering, and then you gain all the knowledge, and then eventually you start remembering back prior to your ascension, and you get back eventually to that first lifetime when you were created. And it's at that point that you become the Godhead. Because you inevitably, during this process, your soulmate, who is part of your matrix, is going through the same process. And quantum entanglement brings that person along with you. So that eventually the two of you arise to a place where you're both remembering everything, and then you merge and become something else. And that's the big adventure that we have ahead of us. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice. Stay happy and high if you use drugs, because you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know, I wrote 2 books about it. My name is Zion. I love you way too much to ever say goodbye, so I'm going to say later now.